Delighted to be here today with Laura Hearn. Laura, how are you?
Very well, thank you, Nick. Thank you for having me.
No, listen, it's always lovely to speak. So it's been last week and a half. It's been a major life change of where you've been. Talk me through, just to contextualize, really brief, your story in terms of working in broadcasting to now being a massive advocate in the wellbeing and space.
It's funny, isn't it, how life can throw you things at a time you think, I don't want this to be happening to me right now. And people say, you know, time, you'll be okay in time. And you kind of, I was wishing the hours to pass. But then when you come through the other side, you think, do you know what, maybe I needed to grow in some areas. So yeah, I have had quite a few life changes in the last sort of 3 or 4 months. One of those has been leaving the BBC after 15, 16 years, which was difficult. It becomes your identity and what you know and what is familiar. But at the same time, I came to a junction in my life and I thought, you know, there's no growth in staying in your comfort zone. And I wanted to see what Laura Hearn could do on her own. So yeah, it's been a whirlwind. I've been on a trip and a bit of an adventure the last couple of weeks over in the Middle East, and I've met some amazing people, and it's helped me really grow in my confidence. And also, I'm a storyteller at heart, and I loved meeting new people and having conversations such as the one we're having now, because I think having fresh perspectives and learning about others is what helps us sort of grow and become human. And so I guess in my own story, I'm in a new chapter, just writing the fresh, crisp pages, I guess.
Now you've left the BBC and now you're looking you're setting yourself up as a consultant.
I'm very much aligned with companies, brands, people that are doing meaningful work in the world and how I can then share their story. So, you know, for example, when I was away, I met many people who are using their platform or their family or their wealth to actually have a really great impact in other areas of the world and to give back. And I was fascinated by the stories of the people that they were helping, the end result, as it were, who don't normally have a voice. And I guess as a journalist at the BBC, I always championed the underserved audience. Throughout my career, I'd been very privileged and I'd spent a lot of time with sort of leading profile people, celebrities, politicians. But it was always the ones actually, the interviews and the people that I met and the stories that I shared of those who would never normally have a voice, who never had access to a platform. They're the ones that at the end of the day, I thought, yeah, I feel like I've done a good job there as a journalist. And that's left me feeling more fulfilled. So for me now, going forwards, I want to share stories. I want to connect to the right people's voice and use myself as a vehicle to find which platform might suit them better and to gain them an audience. So that's kind of where I feel my skills are best set, I guess, and aligned with people who are doing sort of good in the world, good, impactful, meaningful causes. So
tell me, obviously we're in a digital age and actually there's access to everyone through the wonders of the internet and all the different platforms on it. I suppose my question is, from a bringing that back into the mental health space and actually talking about those who are, I suppose, who don't have a voice, who have the opportunity to have a voice. Is it how much in society is this wealth of information a problem for us in terms of actually keeping ourselves in good places? Or is it a question of historically us knowing that knowledge is power and the fact that actually now we have access to as much information as we want through the internet, that actually it gives us an opportunity to be better people and move forward together?
Yeah, that's such a good question. It really is, because I've thought a lot about this myself. And for a period of time, maybe 2 years ago, I kind of put pause on some of the stuff I was engaging in on social media around mental health, because I found it became quite difficult to navigate and a little bit toxic for myself. But at the same time, it was the place where I found human connection when I needed it the most, and helped me not feel so alone in what I was feeling. So it's a real fine balance between curating your own little network on social media, because if we can't live without it anymore. Well, some choose not to, but it kind of surrounds us everywhere. And as a storyteller and journalist, a lot of stories are now shared on social media platforms. So for me, it's been a fine balance of actually curating and really being strict with the people who I allow into my network and who also want me to be in their network of people. And it takes some confidence to say, no, that relationship or that connection is not serving me so well anymore. And maybe also taking some time out from social media, because there are so many platforms now. I was always trying to get my head around the next one, like TikTok and all this, but actually there's only so much you can do, and actually so much, sometimes actually turning your phone off has helped me. And sometimes at the end of the workday, I actually just switch it off, because otherwise I found myself, because of my nature, being quite sort of like obsessive around it, and actually not being very present in the moment to even watch a television program. And part of my recent journey has been learning to be very present with what I have today, because that's all I have, and actually being present in my relationships and where I am of that particular moment. It was funny, I was having dinner a few nights ago with some people when I was away, and I suddenly looked up and there were about 5 of us and we were all on our phones, and I said, guys, come on, like, let's just be in this moment, let's put them aside. They're like, yeah, you're totally right, what are we doing? Because it is kind of an addiction in a way, and it feeds us, and so we have to be careful not to feed it too much.
Are those the conversations we should be having around the fact that how can we be more present and living in the moment? And surely the last 18, 20 months with the pandemic, it's kind of when we have been more present because we've been in our own selves. How are we going to take that through as the world opens up and we're back out traveling and hopefully having good times again?
The pandemic almost made us engage more in social media or tech, Zoom, how we are now, because it forced us to. And so there is going to be a real transition of people who may feel social anxiety. I've spoken to a few people around that, about how you navigate your way back into human connection. It's funny now, because I'm such a tactile person, and my automatic reaction is generally to give someone a hug. And I have to realize, I was also having a conversation, not that long ago, with someone who said, oh, I don't know how I feel about that now, like having a hug. And I was like, right, I have to respect other people's boundaries now, that the world has changed, and to just go back to how it was, I don't think that will ever happen, for sure, in many ways. But I think we all have to be aware of other people's needs and boundaries and how we all feel about that. So I think transitioning back, but I 100% believe that there is nothing more important than human physical connection. That is what we're programmed for. To have a touch, to touch someone's skin, or to have a hug, or there is nothing that technology will ever do, I hope, to replace that. It's, I still like to have a book and to give that on to someone. I don't like to read a book on a laptop, or I still like a newspaper, because it's something you feel and you touch. And so I think having a combination for sure is helpful, that I don't have to always be, in London for, half an hour or something. But I also feel that there is nothing so valuable as having real human connection. It's what humans are programmed for, right?
Lauren, on that note, I think kind of human connection, I'd like to say thank you so much, Adi, for your time. It's been lovely speaking.
Thank you, Nick.
And looking forward to the next
chapter. Seeing you in person.
Yeah, well, most importantly, seeing you in person, but the next chapter and what comes.
Yeah, thank you.
Good adventures ahead.
Thank you so much.
No worries. Thanks so much indeed.